Rain fell softly over the quiet town of Willowbrook, leaving the streets slick and shiny. James Thornton, a single father, trudged home after another long day at the research facility where he studied extraterrestrial ecosystems. Life had been a lonely routine ever since his wife had passed 5 years ago, leaving him to raise their son, Max. But that evening, as he entered his apartment, James was met with a sight that made him pause. Sitting cross-legged on his doorstep, her small claws tucked neatly under her knees, was a little dragon girl. Her scales shimmered like emeralds in the fading light, and her golden eyes were wide, brimming with desperation. Tiny wings trembled on her back, and her tail curled around her legs nervously. Hello," James said cautiously, unsure if he was imagining things, or if exhaustion had finally caught up to him. "Mr. Human," she exclaimed, her voice a mixture of hope and pleading. I need your help." James rubbed his eyes. You can talk." "Of course I can talk," she huffed, crossing her arms. "And I need you to pretend to be my dad. Just for one day." James blinked. He wanted to laugh, to dismiss this as a strange dream. But there was something in her gaze, something genuine and urgent that held him rooted to the spot. "Why? Pretend to be your dad?" he asked, unsure how to even approach the question. The little dragon girl's eyes shimmered with tears. "Because I don't have anyone else. My mum, she's gone, and I can't stay with the others. They don't understand me. But you look kind. Please. Just for today." James knelt down to her level. "All right, but you have to tell me your name first." "I'm Lyra," she whispered. "Lyra Emberwing." "Lyra Emberwing," James repeated, testing the sound of it. "Okay, Lyra, you can spend the day with me. But we need rules, all right?" She threw her arms around him, startling him with the warmth of her tiny body. "Yay, thank you, Mr. Human. I mean, Dad." James swallowed nervously, unsure how to respond to the sudden title. But Lyra didn't care. She hopped into his arms, her small body surprisingly heavy with the strength of her draconic bones, and he felt an odd sense of protectiveness he hadn't experienced in years. The day began with small adventures. Lyra insisted on helping James make breakfast, which quickly turned into a flower-covered battlefield as her dragon curiosity collided with human appliances. She sneezed fire accidentally while trying to toast bread, singeing the edge of the kitchen counter. James only laughed, the sound rusty and unfamiliar in his own ears. "See," Lyra said, puffing a small smoke ring. "Being a dragon isn't so bad." "Yeah, definitely not bad," James muttered, trying to hide the panic creeping up as smoke alarm blared. After breakfast, they ventured to the park. Children stared openly, pointing and whispering, but Lyra didn't seem to notice. She ran with the wind in her wings, and for the first time in years, James felt truly alive, watching someone so free and unafraid of the world. At the pond, Lyra approached a group of ducks. "Watch this, Dad," she said, and with a tiny puff of fire, she cooked a small fish she had caught earlier in the stream. The ducks, unharmed but extremely confused, waddled away. "You're resourceful," James admitted, genuinely impressed. Lyra beamed. "I learned from my mum. She was the best at everything." Her voice softened. "I wish she were here, but I'm glad I have you today." James's chest tightened. This tiny dragon, lost and alone, trusted him completely. He vowed silently to make this day the best day of her life. The afternoon brought unexpected challenges. Lyra's wings weren't fully grown, and she struggled to climb stairs, leaving James carrying her most of the time. People in the streets gawked, some fearful, some fascinated. A few even took out their communicators to alert authorities about a dragon child. But Lyra hid behind James instinctively, her claws gripping his coat. "You're mine today," she whispered fiercely, "and no one can take me." James chuckled, though he was nervous. All right, no one's taking you." They went to a small bookstore next, where Lyra immediately gravitated to the fantasy section. She ran her claws over the spines, eyes shining. "I love stories about humans and dragons working together. You're like that, Dad." James smiled, feeling a warmth he hadn't known since Max was little. "I guess I could be a human hero today, for you." Lyra clapped her hands. "Yes, that's perfect." As evening fell, they returned home. Lyra curled up on the couch beside him, exhausted but happy. James had prepared a small dinner spaghetti, because she had requested it tanned. They ate together, sharing stories of adventures, fears, and dreams. "Dad," Lyra said quietly, "do you think maybe I could stay with you just a little longer?" James's heart ached. He wanted to say yes, but he knew the world wasn't ready to accept a dragon child living among humans. Yet, he also knew he couldn't let her go. "Lyra, I don't know if the world would allow that. But I promise, I'll find a way to help you. You're not alone anymore." She smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. "That's enough for today. Being with you, it's the best day ever." That night, after tucking her into a makeshift bed on the couch, James sat by the window, looking out at the glowing city. He realized something profound. Humanity had its flaws, yes, but it also had the capacity for compassion, for courage, for connection. And today, he had witnessed it not in soldiers or leaders, but in a human heart reaching out to a lost little dragon girl. Lyra's gentle breathing filled the room. And James knew that even if she couldn't stay forever, this day had changed both of them. A bond had formed stronger than fear, stronger than prejudice. He had been her dad for a day, but in many ways, she had become the spark that reminded him what it meant to be human, to care, to protect, and to love beyond boundaries. Morning came with the sun spilling golden light across the apartment. Lyra stirred, her wings twitching. She looked up at James. "Dad." "Thank you," she whispered, tiny scales glinting. "I'll never forget today." James knelt, gathering her into a gentle hug. "Neither will I, Lyra. Neither will I." And as she disappeared into the world, returning to the skies and forests where her kind roamed, James felt a deep, unshakable pride. Humanity had triumphed with weapons or technology, but with heart. He had shown a little dragon girl that humans could care. And in doing so, he had remembered how to care for himself too. For one day, James had been her dad. But in truth, she had reminded him that even the smallest acts of kindness could make a world of difference, and that was enough. Asterisk.